Okay, greetings to you all. This is group two. We have a presentation to do on the differences between qualitative and quantitative research paradigms. So let's look at the outline of the presentation. We will be looking at positivism, constructivism, transformative, and then pragmatism. So let's look at it, an introduction to the work. We say paradigms are frameworks for research. So these paradigms that we are talking about, they are the foundations, they are the framework for the research, and they also shape reality, knowledge, and then the methods. And the focus of this presentation is going to be positivism, constructivism, transformative, and pragmatism as we talk of. And then we will use maybe a Ghanaian case studies in this presentation. So let's just look at a table showing us some differences of all these research paradigms. When we come to the paradigm, the positivism, they say that reality is objective, means when you say this thing is this, it is like that. We can't change, and it is not based on your knowledge or your perceptions. What is already there is there. Then positivism, they use quantitative method. We come to constructivism. They are talking of multiple. Reality is multiple means that the reality is in, they said that it is in many ways. And then they have the method to be qualitative. Then when we come to transformative, they are talking of power and then justice. Then they use participatory as the method. Then pragmatism deal with practicality. They are looking at the practical side of work. Then they use mixed methods as the research paradigm. Okay, let's now look at positivism. The meaning of positivism, they said that they assumes reality is objective and measurable, as we've already talked about. When we say this thing, it is that, it does not change, and it should be measurable. That is why the method is quantitative, and we all know that when we are talking of quantitative, it involves measuring. The same knowledge also comes from observation and the numbers. So we can attain knowledge through observing or watching uh, others, and then manipulation of numbers. Now we have research. Researchers test hypotheses using statistics to find patterns. So the researchers always use hypotheses to see a certain behavior, how it works, and then they based on that they can conclude. Then we say it is mainly used in quantitative studies. So positivism is always used in quantitative studies. Let's continue to see. We see the method as we talk about quantitative. Let's see a case study. We have Apaleo et al. 2025. He says that SHS students' perceptions predicted achievement. So based on him, his studies, he said that he was able to predict that the achievement of students is based on how they perceive things or they think. Then see a scenario over here. Teacher training hours linked to higher scores, and that is coming from Bona et al. And the main focus of this paradigm is on prediction and how to control that phenomenon. Let's look at the strengths of this paradigm. We say that it gives reliable results that others can check, since it is based on objectivity and the measurability. Now, it uses clear steps that are easy to follow. It uses clear steps that are easy to follow. So as we know that it is involved in quantitative, you have to take samples and then work with. So you see that we can be able to follow the procedures. Then we say results can apply to many people because of large samples. So when it comes to generalizability, after you see your findings, you can be able to generalize because of the large sample size you are using. The numbers provide accurate evidence of differences. So as you see the results coming out, based on that, you can see the accurateness of your work. Then the weakness side of this paradigm is they does not show people personal experiences. Then they can oversimplify uh, complex situations. Then they often ignores the context and the details of whatsoever thing that we are studying. And then we have an example just over here. I see Aning et al. 2024 only, you see, he looked at only the scores, not the opinions. Then I will hand over to a colleague to take over from here.
So I'll continue from here. So with the constructivism, they believe that reality is socially created. Reality is constructed by people, and knowledge comes from the experience and interaction of the people. So researchers try to understand how people make sense of their world. So it is mainly used in qualitative studies. It's used in qualitative studies. It is used in qualitative studies. For example, why do students struggle with algebra? It's in a qualitative form. Instead of giving tests, you interview the student, then you observe the lessons, ask them how they feel about algebra, then afterward you analyze the explanation. Please, the next slide. So we come to the strength of constructivism. So we say that it helps understand people's experience deeply because constructivism is constructed or experienced by people. Experience. It helps us to understand people's experience deeply. It also shows how content affects learning or behavior. So as I gave the example earlier, it helps you to know whether the students are okay with whatever you are teaching, like the algebra that I gave the example. Then the results are detailed and meaningful. Then participants are actively involved in research. Yes. So constructivism is involve all the participants. We come to the weakness. So when we come to the weakness, research can take the research can take a long time. Yes. And also findings may not apply to many people. Yes. For example, if I interview only 5 students, can I speak for all Ghana? No, I can't. Then collecting and analyzing data can be complicated. Yes, it's very complicated. Please, the next slide. Please, I'll hand over to the next colleague to continue.
Okay, so we move on to transformative research. So transformative research, right, focuses mainly on social justice and change. That is the research that you are coming to conduct. It shouldn't just describe what's the community, but it should bring change into the community. So yeah, we have over here, it addresses the problem of inequality, and then it empowers what marginalized groups, that's the groups, the people who have disabilities. Yeah, it involves all of them. And then research is used to create practical solutions and improve society. And it's a mixed research, right? So it uses both qualitative and quantitative method in carrying out the research. Please, can you move on? So here we have the meaning of the transformative research. I've already explained, but let's see what we have here. In reality, right, it will shape thoughts, power, and what justice. Yes, it corrects the problem of inequality, which brings about justice. And then the method uses participatory. The method uses participatory. And what do we think over here? Like, participants are actively involved. Participants in the society are involved in carrying out the research. So we have a case study over here. by Agbozo et al. And then he said, integrating African math history. We know normally Africa is how do I put it? Disintegrated from what math problems. So integrating math history, like bringing about the opinions of Africans and everything into history. So we have a scenario in voter reading. Algebra linked to weaving patterns increased pride. Yeah. Linking algebra to weaving pattern increase the pride of what the votarians, because it brings their culture out and everything. So the key point here over here is that curriculum, it brings about curriculum justice and what empowerment among the society. Please move on to the next slide. So we look at their advantages, that's their strength. They say it empowers the disadvantaged groups and produces practical solutions for real world problems. It empowers groups that have been marginalized, groups that don't have the how do I put it? Yeah, groups that have been marginalized. Yeah, it empowers those groups. And then it uses numbers and stories to explain issues. And then also participants help to shape the research process. So we move on to their disadvantages. What are their weaknesses? It is very hard to plan, right? We need participants to bring out their information and all sorts of things. So it is very difficult to plan, and then it's time consuming. The time and the resources you have to put in this type of research is like too much. And then the results may not apply to other settings. The results may not apply to other settings since people have different opinions, right? You may consider one person's opinion and then you not consider the other person's opinion. And then balancing researcher and participant roles too can be very, very tricky. Yeah, please move on to the next slide. So I'll hand over to Daniel to continue from here.
I'll be taking pragmatism. And as we all know, pragmatists, they devise theories. As for them, they are just results oriented. So let's look at the meaning of pragmatism here. Pragmatism focuses on solving practical problems. So practical way of resolving phenomena, situations is what they are all about. So researchers use the method that works best. So they choose the method that suits their context. So knowledge is valuable if it can solve real world problems. So to them, a theory that is not fulfilling need not to be called a theory. So they ignore them. So it often combines numbers and stories. So because they don't deal with only numbers, they look at the story behind those numbers. That's the feelings and emotions. So to continue again, in reality, they deal with practical and context-based issues, as I've already mentioned. The method they use is both quantitative and qualitative, as we see the mixed method. It can be flexible. And also a case study we have here, Ahin, Labi, and Usu Anand, 2023 online learning during COVID. So they're going to start using this online classrooms, such as Zoom, the Teams. So it's a practical way of solving a challenge that the learning environment is facing between facilitation and learning. And so this was addressed during the COVID time, where team use and Zoom meetings become more prevalent. So a scenario, Cape Coast use hybrid WhatsApp plus Zoom teaching, as I've already mentioned. So the key point here is what works for us is the only approach they understand. So let's look at their strengths. So pragmatism help researchers choose the best methods. As I already explained, produces useful and practical results, combines numbers and stories for understanding, focuses on solving real problems. So their focus is just let the problem be solved, let the phenomena be resolved. That is their issue. So let's look at their weakness. So the method may differ across studies because different groups could be used. And the same way, method cannot work for other groups. So can sometimes ignore theories, as I already said. And so researchers must explain why methods were chosen. That is why the settings are different. Since settings are different, backgrounds are different, hence it will require different methods. So hard to repeat exactly in another study because it is not replicable based on context and sometimes the uniqueness of the individuals in question. So in conclusion, you just want to say paradigms differ in worldview and method. So any paradigm you choose will result to your context and the methods you use. And we use Ghanaian studies to show positivism that talks about the measurability of achievements. We talk on constructivism, where learners' views are taken into consideration. We talk on transformatism, that look at the people's background, culture, and all that, and resolve social inequalities. We also talk of pragmatism, which look at how to adapt practically to our situations that we have. So the takeaway here is that the takeaway is that what transpire or what inspires somebody to choose a paradigm for his or her research. And so the choice should influence the impact it will have on people and then the benefit thereof. Our reference here. Thank you.